Hey, 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 hey. We're live. We're live. Friday night live. Friday night live. Let me tag someone. Let's see if we can get this going. Give it a minute. Friday night live. Mental health. Emotional hoarding. Minority health. Hey, May. Minority Health Awareness Month. Sexual Assault Awareness Month. My 1 year licensure anniversary. Y'all coming? Who's coming? Who's coming? Who's coming? Say hey. Tag a friend. Share it. We're going to hey Heather. I'm gonna be quick. Let's see. I always say that, but let's try. I'm gonna get started in about 1 minute. So if you know someone that's interested or in mental health awareness, minority health, sexual assault awareness, therapy, emotional hoarding, baggage, grief, depression, shame, isolation, bring them on. Share it. Share the video. Do a watch party. Whatever you feel like you want to do. And I hope that this video will encourage you. It's going to be quick about my first year as a licensed mental health clinician. And I am super excited about what has transpired while I have been licensed for 1 year. I have been in practice for, I guess, since May to July. So just want to share briefly. I'm going to get started in about 15 seconds. You can share it, join, have someone else join. All right, so I wanted to just come on tonight, Friday Night Live. Hope everyone has had a great week and is ready for the weekend. I know I certainly am. It's spring break here, so I'm excited about that and getting this break. Don't mind these crazy curls because my haircut is growing before me. But anyway, I digress. So I wanted to just come on and say I'm so grateful. Yesterday I posted on Facebook, probably not on Instagram, that it made 1 year since I became a licensed professional counseling associate. I am in the process of fulfilling the hours to become fully licensed. And for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sharonda Ford, a licensed professional counseling associate in Charlotte, North Carolina. I do mental health therapy, psychotherapy, counseling, whatever you call it in your area, for trauma, stress, grief, depression. I do marriage counseling, teen, life coaching, consulting. I assist new therapists or therapists who are interested in starting their private practice with how to get started and just a lot of things within the mental health realm. So I wanted to share that over this past year that I've been licensed, I have been blessed to start a private practice where I shared sometime in August that at that point I had 17 clients. I am so excited and blessed to be able to share that since August, I have had over 100 clients come through my practice. I am a sole practitioner, so that means that everyone who comes into the practice, I see them myself. I am now EMDR trained, that is eye movement and desensitization reprocessing, which I believe is an answer to so many prayers with trauma and stress or PTSD. So excited about that. But most importantly, I wanted to highlight something that came to me the other day regarding emotional hoarding. I was just thinking about how often we tend to talk about people who are hoarding or people who are becoming minimalist and things like that. And it made me think about how we are as individuals, that many of us are probably guilty of being emotional hoarders. We refuse to let go of things that have us bound. And sometimes we feel that we just have to hold on to the pain for some reason, like it is a matter of something that we cannot let go. When I thought about Minority Health Month, which is a national observation, it made me think of how excited I am to see so many minorities getting mental health. I am so excited about the stigma of mental health that is being scratched out or erased. I'm so excited about the silence of suffering that is being addressed and that people are getting a voice. And I am encouraging anyone I can and everyone that I can to ensure that you're sharing with someone, to get a voice, to have a voice, to be able to speak to someone, and to be able to share that therapy does change lives and that hope changes everything. And when I talk about hope, I speak of help overcoming powerful emotions, and those powerful emotions include but aren't limited to grief, depression, anxiety, abandonment, isolation, loneliness, disappointment, trauma, stress, and so many other emotions that debilitate or paralyze us. And as I thought through it, I thought about how often we are just compartmentalizing pain. And we see it within our families. We see it within our communities. We see it within the relationships that we have. We are consistently seeing people say, I'm okay, or it's all right, or I'm not bothered. It is what it is. And I looked at some statistics regarding that, and I'll share that at another time. But how often are we just going with a cliche that it is what it is, or I'm good? And why is it not okay to be good? So I think it's important to stop for a moment and decide for yourself, are you really good? I think that so many people become comfortable in their discomfort that they're not recognizing that there is a need for change. And that's where the emotional hoarding begins. You begin to take those things that have happened to you in your past and you hold on to them. You cling to them like it's a security blanket. You cling to the trauma. You cling to the assault. You cling to the bad relationships. You cling to the disappointment and the fear and the abandonment and the isolation, and those things that you've experienced become your norm. As they become your norm, you become kind of numb to the fact that something else is possible for you, something else is available to you, and then you walk into toxic relationships, be them friendships or relationships where you're caring for someone, partnerships and things like that, and they begin to become your norm. It's like you no longer realize that there's something else better for you. You no longer realize that there's something else available to you. So when you consider hoarding and you think of, how we see these shows and they're hoarding shows and people have things everywhere, just laying everywhere, I encourage you to think about the emotional hoarding that you may do, or someone that you know, and be willing to really be honest about it and kind of go through what things you don't need. I mean, are you holding on to grief that you don't need it because you're afraid of losing memories of someone that you love? And grief is not just about losing a loved one in death. Grief is about separating from other things. You can have grief from the loss of a job, grief from the loss of a relationship, grief from the loss of something you love. You can grieve many things, but grief is still an actual emotion that debilitates and paralyzes. It goes along with fear. It goes along with stress, depression, anxiety. We hear people often, like, oh my God, I talked to a friend yesterday, and she just buried her mother less than a week ago. And she shared with me that someone said to her, man, like, you still seem sad. How disgusting is that you cannot, you cannot feel comfortable in grieving. We've got to be careful of the things we say. For Christians, I often talk about how it's almost how we're taught to go to the altar and to cast our cares on God. However, we got to be ashamed to go to the altar. So when you see people, if you have any familiarity with this, when you see people who are headed to the altar during the altar call, during prayer time, then everybody, oh my God, you see she's at the altar again? Oh, I wonder what's going on with her. Oh God, that girl was crying this morning. What you think happened to her? It's like we can no longer be free to get the help that we need, whether it's at the altar, whether it's in the office, whether it's talking to a loved one, a professional, getting a coach, doing consulting, whatever it is. We've got to, we have become a society that is ashamed of getting help. But it's no different than you being able to go to your doctor when you are feeling pain in your chest, you have a headache, or you get a rash, anything it is. A lot of times we're so quick to run. We even run to the urgent care, but no one is really being as concerned with their mental health. And your mental health Your mental health has a lot to do with your physical health. So when you neglect your mental health due to emotional hoarding, due to holding on to grief and shame and depression and trauma and stress and abandonment and loneliness and isolation and fear and envy and jealousy and strife and just all type of adjustments or grief or maladjustments, when you hold on to these things, it is debilitating, it is paralyzing, and it prevents you from being able to move forward in the place that you need to be. So emotional hoarding is damaging. It's a bondage concept that you've got to break free from. It's time to start looking at these things that are lying around, piled up in your life, that you're tripping over every day. You're tripping over shame, tripping over guilt, tripping over depression, tripping over grief, tripping over fear, tripping over loneliness, tripping over all of these things that paralyze you, when all you've got to do is make a decision to work on them. Well, I tell people when they come into my office, it's a hope lounge. This is where you get hope. You get help overcoming powerful emotions. And what we do is we feel, we deal, and we heal. So we go through, you unpack some things and you feel them and they hurt and it's not comfortable. And then you deal with some things. That's when you start processing. How did we get here? How did I get to this point? How did I get stressed? How did I get depressed? How did I get overwhelmed? How did I get grief? Why am I envious? Why am I jealous? Why am I fearful? Why am I paralyzed in these powerful negative emotions? And then you begin to heal. And that is the part that we all want to get to. But you cannot heal if you do not deal and you do not feel. So that is imperative to break the bondage of emotional hoarding. I am super excited that God took me off the path that I was on, that was rewarding and fruitful and promising, and he redirected me to the role in which I am called to be in. I am called to counsel. That is what I'm called to do. I am not just a hashtag. I'm not just a mental health therapist. I am not your traditional therapist. I am called to do this work, and I'm committed to do it inside the office, outside the office, everywhere I go. My passion is to help people to become fully adjusted individuals who no longer are in bondage to the memories of the past that keep them from living a promised future. So I encourage you to share, look around, talk to somebody. Anxiety is real. Grief is real. When you are feeling anxious, look up, ways for you to be calm, but don't stop there. Don't let Dr. Google be your everything. You've got to get help. You no longer need to be ashamed. There no longer needs to be a silence to the suffering, but get your voice. Whoever stole your voice, identify it. Your body is your temple, is your house. It's your neighborhood, and you've got to identify the houses in your neighborhood that bring down your value. This is your temple. This is your house. Those houses in your neighborhood are grief and shame and fear and abandonment and isolation and physical assault and sexual assault and rape or abuse. Those are the houses that are bringing down your neighborhood. You've got to identify how they got there, and you've got to evict them, demolition the house, and be able to make your neighborhood of value. So I pray that you will work on yourself. I pray that you will look to getting some help. It is okay. There are free services so many places. There are too many people committed suicide. Children are committing suicide. Children are a product of decisions that adults make. I will say that again. Children are a product of decisions that adults make. Be cognizant of the decisions that you're making as adults, because your child is directly affected, just as you were, just as I was, just as your parents were, and their parents were. It is a cycle that does not break until you get the help to break it, or the hope to break it. So I just wanted to take that time. I'm grateful. I'm celebrating this one year anniversary. I currently have about 50 current clients in my practice. I am so grateful and honored that God chose me, and I'm more excited that these people that God entrusted to me are on their way to healing, hope, and great mental health. So reach out if you have any questions. Share this video. Tell somebody that there is hope. There is help to overcome powerful emotions. I am available for counseling, consulting, coaching. If you want to reach out to me, if you want referrals for someone in your area, in your neighborhood, in your state, in your country, whatever it is, let me know what I can do to help. Have a blessed and right, Rita, this is not the time to be shy or embarrassed. Get help. Get help for your children. We see children in therapy that are as young as 2 years old. Trauma starts in the womb. That means that before they even get here, they are susceptible to trauma, they experience trauma, and then they live it out in their lives. So no, your child may not just be bad. Maybe you were not just bad. These are results of decisions that have been made for you and them. Have a blessed and amazing week. Bye.